3D solid modeling lesson 2.2. We're going to start off by introducing you to a program called Onshape, which will help you render 3D models that you can eventually 3D print with our printer. After creating your account, what you're going to do is you're going to click on this word Onshape, and that brings you to this main feature right here. As you can see, I already have some folders set up, but we're going to set up a folder for each lesson we do. So you're going to hit Create Folder to start with, and we're going to call this folder Lesson 2.2. All right. This is our second chapter, and it's the second part of our lesson, so that's why it's 2.2. After you create the folder, you double-click on it, and then we're going to create our actual file, and that's all called a document. So we're going to go Create Document, and our first document is going to be just a simple 1 by 1 by 1 inch box. So we're going to call it Box, and after every file we're going to do, we're going to put our last name. All right, so we're going to do box underscore, and then whatever your last name is. Mine's Valentino, so mine would be box underscore Valentino. We'll just leave it at last name. All right, so now I got my file. It says your file name up here. If you ever want to change it, you can. All right, and we're in our folder for easy finding. It brings you to your initial screen. Now, when we go to our screens, if we click on these three horizontal bars, we can go to workspace units and change our units from inches to millimeters to centimeters to anything we want, but we're just going to leave it at inches. You can change the number of significant figures. We're going to leave that at 3, which is normal, and you could do this with degrees, mechanical stuff, and everything else. So we're going to stay at inches for this problem right here. So we checked it, we're in inches, we're good. So now that we created our document settings, we're going to go and create our 1 by 1 inch cube, which is right here in the top left-hand corner. We're going to start by using the sketch button, and when we sketch, it tells you what plane do you want to sketch on. So we go to our cube in the top right-hand side, and we want to sketch it from the top or the bottom up or the top down, so we click on top. To make sure you're in the right place, you can see it says top plane. If I played around with this cube, this shows you the sketch we're going to do is right here with the top. So I go back onto the top, and now I want to sketch my cube. So the first thing we're going to sketch with our cube is going to be the bottom of our cube or the top of our cube. That is 1 inch by 1 inch. So we're going to go over to the corner rectangle. You can also use center point rectangle. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to use corner. I go to the origin of the XY, and I click there, and I pull my rectangle out. Now, I actually want this to be a 1 inch by 1 inch square, so it doesn't matter where you pull this to. It's not going to click on 1 inch by 1 inch easily. So just pull it out, and now you're going to take 1. You're going to hit the return or the enter button, and then you're going to hit 1 again. And what that does is it restrains it. If you press escape, I can pull out or move these dimension lines to wherever I want. It really doesn't matter where they are, because we're going to finish our sketch by hitting this green check mark. If you hit the red X, it's just going to delete your sketch, so you hit the green check mark. Now, I'm going to click on one of these corners just so I can see a 3D view of my piece, and I always like to do the top right. It gives me a piece right here. So it shows me that my 1 by 1 square is on the top layer. Now what I want to do is I want to build it up, kind of like a 3D printer that starts from the bottom and goes up. I want to make this thing go up 1 inch. So that is done by using the extrude button. Now extrude, what that does is it creates, it adds. It can also subtract parts by extruding or pulling or pushing the sketch out from a surface. Now you can only go perpendicular to that surface. So my surface right here, click on the face, it says this face of sketch 1. Now with extrude, I can actually pull this up using the arrow. I can either go up or I can go down, okay? But that's the only direction. You cannot go left or right. Now I want to go up, but I want to go up 1 inch. So I can just go over the depth and I type in the number 1 and hit enter, and it'll constrain it and make it 1 inch, which is exactly what I want because I want a 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch cube. You hit the green check mark one more time, and there's my figure. If you want to zoom in, you could take your fingers and pinch them out or pinch them in. It makes your figure larger or smaller. I can take my cube and I can move around on my cube to where I want. So it doesn't necessarily matter what angle you're taking it on. You really don't want to take it at a straight angle because that just looks like a square. So you do want a corner to show that some depth in it. You press Command Shift 4. You're going to take a screenshot of this, and then you're going to upload it to Canvas. And that right there is your first assignment. Now what happens here is this is already saved, so there's nothing else you need to do. For our next assignment, you simply just click on Onshape, and we're going to create a new document. right in the same folder, and I'll show you that in the next video. Good job.